All right, guys, so now that we're about to start waxing our skis, we actually have to think about what temperature of wax are we going to put on. And when we're talking about the temperature of wax, this is the wax that we want to use that is going to match the temperature of the snow, not the air. So remember that, because oftentimes the air is a lot warmer than the snow, and you really want to try and keep that in mind when you're doing stuff. So here you can see on this, this is the multi-pack here, and you can see these different temperatures right here, 39, or it says 28, 23. Oh my God, excuse me. Those are going to be the temperatures of the snow that you're going to want to match. Now, if you can do this, stick a thermometer in the snow. I know most people can't do that, especially at the resort or wherever. But if you have that understanding, this will be the most effective. So keep that in mind. And another thing too is that you see how it says 39, 28, and 23. Let's say that the snow is 33 degrees, right? It's somewhere in between the red and the purple. You can mix and match those to kind of make a hybrid temperature. So think about that too. But anyways, let's get into the waxing. Or wait, let me tell you about iron stuff first. So if you don't have an iron to wax your skis with, there are a couple of things that you can do. One of them is use a regular iron, but you're gonna have to cover the bottom with something like parchment paper, because you're gonna mess up your iron and you don't want to get wax in there. The other thing that you can do is use a pan on your stove, like a flat pan on your stove, and a smaller one. Nothing that's got like a huge base, maybe a smaller base like that. And as long as the bottom of the pan is smooth, we can use this for the same process, and it's relatively easy to clean. So if you just got wax and you're in a pinch, that's what you do. All right, let's actually start waxing it. All right, guys, I'm gonna start by washing my skis just to make them nice and clean. A little bit of rubbing alcohol on a wet paper towel or even water works. And simple wipe off. If you guys are looking at my skis and you're like, I don't think they need wax, well, you're right. They don't. I pulled these out of the garage, and it's at the end of every ski season. This is kind of a good thing that you guys should do too, is that I will cover my skis in a thick coat of wax, and I won't scrape them. I'll make sure to get the wax on the edges here so you can see. Maybe you can or can't, but none of the edges of the skis are rusty where the wax was. Now, I didn't wax the very tips of these skis, and you can see that's what happens to the edges. This will literally come right off. It's actually not a big deal at all. But that's a good way. As you can see, these have just been sitting there for a long time to preserve the life of them. So I'm gonna wipe off the rest of my skis, and then we'll get into the next part. Right now that we've cleaned off the skis, the next thing we gotta do, warm up the iron. So go ahead and plug that in. You could be doing this like while you're doing other stuff. I like to just not rush the process because I really enjoy it, and I think you will too. So let's wait for this to heat up, and then we'll start waxing the skis. Hello. All right, guys, we made it to the part where we're waxing. We took our brake off here with our handy dandy screwdriver that we always keep in our ski bag. These are always two good things to have: a flathead and a big Phillips, big-headed Phillips. We got a brand new brick of some Universal. I'm just going to use it for this example. These skis are, well, they're already waxed, but I can still show you the process, so let's do it. All right, so we're grabbing our iron here, and if we look at the iron really close, you can see that on the corners here we got kind of some buildup, right? And normally this would be a lot worse, but kind of at the end of every season, boom, pop off the old chunks. So we use the corners of the plate to be able to drop drops where we want them. If we hold it like this, the wax is going to pour very weirdly. So I always go with a corner here, and then I start with one of the narrow sides, give it a little bit, wait, give it a little bit, wait, and you'll see the drop start to form. So let's see that now. So give it a little bit, wait, there we go. Give it a little bit, wait, right? And you can see that we're starting to get a very nice controlled flow as you start to get more comfortable with it, you know, find your little rhythm. And you're seeing here that my application is not like, the goal is not to cover the entire ski in the wax right now, right? We're just trying to melt it along the length of the ski so we can cover stuff. Now, I'm running out of a little bit of cord here, so I'm gonna just go with what we got here. We'll focus on this part of the ski for a little how to wax tutorial example, right? Now, something I want to bring up, if you're using two different kinds of wax, you want to think about having, let's see, I'll show you the kind of coverage that's good, but you want it to be a blend of the two. Blend of the two different temperatures of wax. Okay? I'm trying to give you guys a good little understanding of how much wax you need to use. So you can see this is not that much wax. And if your ski is really dry, maybe you would use a little more, but this is actually going to spread out. So between here and here, this is a totally okay amount of wax. You'll actually see that as I start spreading this out, that it's going to be it's going to make a lot more sense. So let's start melting the wax and spreading it on the ski now. Here's another important thing, guys. So if we look really closely at the ski, you can see that there are vertical lines going down your ski. You might not see it, but the PTEX runs up and down your ski like this. Now, because of that, I like to use my iron forward and backwards. I don't go against the grain, as you might call it. So let's start waxing this up a little bit, and you see what I'm talking about, right? And as I'm gently moving this back and forth, forward and backwards, right? We're not trying to leave the iron on the ski just like that. That's not good. So we want to always keep it moving. And we just go up and down, kind of taking our time to make sure that we get all the little parts of the ski. Let me zoom out here. So some of the weirder spots on the ski tend to be right by the edges, especially on skis that have been used, because these get worn down more. So you might actually have to use a little bit of an angle on the ends just to get the sides of your skis. But you can see just a nice fluid moving back and forth motion. Nothing too crazy, right? Again, we're not doing this motion against the grain. We're going with the grain of the ski, right? So we're going to keep doing this. We're going to make sure to fill in all these little gaps on the side. If you pay attention, you can kind of see which parts of the ski are thirstier for more wax. Because, again, this ski, I've been taking good care of it. It's not doing that. But you'll see those will be the really white, thin parts that I was talking to you about before. So we're waxing, nice and gentle, keeping it moving, spreading that wax out evenly and thoroughly. And at this point, once we've gotten it all in there, all even. We just let it sit. So for the next, I don't know, maybe, well, ideally you'd want to let this sit overnight. I'm going to let this sit for, a couple of hours or so. Since the ski was at room temperature, I know that it's absorbing it well, you know, because I have a bunch of wax, I can kind of get away with, you know, maybe not waiting as long as I should, but let's wait for a little bit, let this wax settle up. I'll show you what it looks like, and then we'll get to scraping. All right. As the wax is settling up, I kind of wanted to see if I could show you this, but if you can do this to your wax, and I don't know if you can see what I just did, but I made a, yeah, you can. So this is a sign, if you can do this to your wax, that it's still too hot to scrape. So you want to wait until that is actually hard. So funnel thing, if you can push your finger into the wax and it's visible, you gotta chill out and wait. All right, guys, so here's another shot. So the wax has been setting in for a while. Here's where we were kind of touching it earlier. And you can tell the wax has been soaking in, because now we see all of this texture on the ski. This is the pores and stuff that I'm talking about. When we had the wax on there, it was covering up all of that, and now that it's soaked in, you can see obviously some of those are scratches. You can tell which are the scratches and what's actually the base of the ski. Let's see if we can get some better light on that, but yeah, that is just something I just wanted to show you, the porous nature of the skis. I think we're gonna wax these, or I think we're gonna scrape them soon, just so I can show you guys. So let's go do that. We are at the point where we're going to actually scrape the skis off. That's where this little thing comes in handy. A couple of things we want to know. You want this to be a nice sharp corner, for sure. You also want to make sure that you're using the wide side and not this narrow side, because obviously you see that's not as wide as the ski, and a little bit of imbalance can end up putting pressure into a corner, and then you just dig all the wax off of that spot, maybe even a little bit of P-Tex depending on how hard you're pushing. So if you do this like this, you got to be really mindful, and maybe you're just using it to treat a little spot on the edge or something that's like really thick, and this amount of pressure is not good enough. Now, the other thing we want to note is the angle, right? So when we're scraping, it's not totally sideways like that, but we're going maybe like 45 degrees or so, and bracing the ski, right? Lots of pressure, and then we're gonna push forward like that. Nice and slowly, we're gonna take our time doing that, right? Because as we do that, the different layers will even out, right? Some spots might be high initially, and you'll start to see what's up. I like to make sure that I'm scraping in the direction of the ski, forward or backward, doesn't really matter. All right, you can just go in one direction if you'd like. I don't really know if it makes a difference. I don't think it does. And we use firm pressure, again, while bracing the ski. And we're just taking our time, moving over the spots that look like they still have wax on them, but we're staying nice, with nice up and down, working the vertical length of the ski, right? Again, the only time you want to use like the corner is if you're having a little bit of a weird shape with the ski there, or if you're actually know what you're doing, but I still just don't recommend it anyways. So this is basically the process here. And I don't know if you guys can tell, but I'm using a ton of pressure, right? A ton of it. And so basically you just do that the whole length of the skis. The tips and the tails are a little weird because oftentimes you'll end up having a bit of an imbalance issue there. So just keep that in mind when you're doing that. Sometimes kind of maybe putting them over your shoulder and bracing it really tight just so you can get those last little bits on the corner works. Or if you have just a nice bench that's got both ends of the skis actually on something. I'm just using my kitchen table. Would totally solve that problem. So after this, if you did have a brush or something, you might want to use that, but these skis would be good to go at this point. The other thing to remember is if you are gonna store your skis for the summer season, you won't do this last step. You won't scrape the wax off your skis. You'll just wax it and then leave it. That'll give the skis plenty of wax to absorb. And yeah, all right guys. Well, thank you guys for watching. If you guys enjoyed the content, please like and subscribe. Also, ski season is almost here. I'm gonna be up in Winter Park next weekend. We're supposed to get snow up there tomorrow. So I'm gonna do a check on Berthoud Pass, check at Winter Park, and we're doing some orientation for coaching this season. So anyways, yep, thank you guys for tuning in. All right, bye.